On an early autumnal day, Chiemsee looks like a scene from a postcard. In this placid place, the thought of an intense election battle seems distant. And yet, these are the voters all parties must convince. Which subjects are most important to them?
It's not like it was 2 years ago. It's calmed down a lot. When the big refugee wave happened, it was a bit weird. But now the topic, as I see it, is no longer current.
Critical of closing borders. I don't think it works. I think controls, yes, but closing borders is nonsense. I don't need to talk about Europe and then close borders.
And that's the issue which propelled the politics of this state into national, into European prominence over the course of this past year, with the governing Christian Social Union here threatening to topple the national coalition if it didn't get its way. And yet right now in this campaign, it finds itself on the defensive over this issue. In news conferences, CSU ministers admit the effect immigration has had.
We have had many irritations in the past few years. The higher number of refugees that came into our country, the question of integration, and the big controversy about that in Berlin. But the most important factor is we are concentrating on a strong campaign.
In recent months, the CSU has sought to move further to the right, to prevent the populist anti-immigrant AfD from encroaching onto its ground. But analysts say ministers in Berlin have resisted CSU plans.
So the CSU could always promise and propose, but in fact they couldn't bring home anything. They promised, they overpromised and underdelivered. This is why conservatives now turn their back on them and flock to the AfD instead.
Which explains why that party is heading to Sunday's election with confidence.
I think it's important for our country to get the AfD into the Bavarian parliament, to make Bavaria also one of the states that support the opposition against Merkel.
And yet, in this deeply conservative state, there are signs not everyone likes the rightward trend in politics. Many here in Chiemsee say they want their politicians to concentrate on schools, health and mainstream issues. The local Green candidate says he thinks his party could spring a surprise in this election. We'll know if he's right on Sunday evening. Dominic Kane, Al Jazeera, in Bavaria.